Like I mentioned, this is our second annual Valentine's Day mailbag. So with that, we put out the bad signal. Our listeners did not let us down. So filled it out completely. So let's just jump into it. You want to read it, Meech, or do you want me to read it? I don't want.
I got this one. So this one comes from a very esteemed guest known as Chanel, and her first question is, how do y'all feel your upbringing has affected the way y'all view relationships and friendships today?
I think that in terms of like how my upbringing has affected my view, honestly, like it's caused a lot of trauma. So I think about all of my insecurities about like not wanting for people to like abandon me or get tired of me, or feeling like I always need to be pleasing the people around me that I care about in order for them to then want to be around me. I think that's mostly what I've seen be affected by, or that's how I've seen my upbringing really affect my view of relationships and friendships. But what I also, but it's not all bad. I think that there is a certain way that I like to play with people. Like I like to tease, and like just goof around and like be silly, play games and stuff like that. That is directly correlated to how me and my family related to one another. So I'm really big on like TV, movies, and things like that. So when I make recommendations for people to watch shows, it means a lot to me, and it makes me feel loved, because one of the ways that my family bonds together ever since I was like a little kid is we watch movies together. And they'll be like, oh, you should watch this show. They watch it and then we talk about it and nerd out about it. So that's one way I've seen it.
Yeah. For me, I would say that, that's a tough one. This is a great question. Like showing up for people through the hard times, I would say is definitely one that I would saw, just like upbringings and friendships, and how I see how that affects me, where it's like, okay, you don't just get to run because things are hard necessarily, but that doesn't necessarily mean like you stay through things that are like red flags. So that's definitely something I would say. Affection is something that I've had to work on growing up. Like physical affection or just like expressing it, definitely something that I've had to work on growing up. But definitely just like, showing up for people is one that I would say definitely with my upbringing is something that I learned and wanted to pick up.
Yeah, and I think for me, like when it comes to my upbringing, it was like Afro Puff mentioned, is some trauma in there where like I mostly is like, all right, I'm just like closed off, mostly like, closed off, want to be like lonesome. But like for folks I care about, like I'll go out of my way to do stuff that let them know that I love them. But like I may not necessarily say anything, because like, all right, me expressing myself verbally, it ain't gonna cut it. I just need to show them, and then they'll just get the message, and then I'll just be deuces. But fortunately, I grew past that. I'll be able to tell somebody that I love them, even when I don't. But but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, and then also again, my cheery, upstanding attitude allowed me to go through a lot of good dark times. Did I say good dark times? I mean just dark times. But
we all had an emo phase, so
we do not talk about that. We do not talk about that one, because those were. Woo! All right, next question. Next question. Did y'all have imaginary friends as a kid?
Yes, his name was TJ. So that was definitely my imaginary friend. I remember Foster's Homes for Imaginary Friends. That was a great show on Cartoon Network, but I definitely had one.
Mine was Goku. Literally, I'd like, Goku is my best friend. We will train, we will fight together, and what did it help me to do? It helped me to be a violent kid. But who would have guessed? Who would have guessed I turned out violent?
Someone's not beating those allegations.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Except for the fact I clearly didn't do it. That's me to birth 42.
Yeah. Anyway, but I never had an imaginary friend. Me and my brother are super close in age, so and we wherever one went, the other went. So yeah, we played a lot.
All right.
All right. Next up, we have, is there anyone who's changed your life but doesn't know it?
For me, I would say there was a friend that I met. I want to say it's about 8 years ago now, but it was a conversation. I was interning at a place at a time, and just like, one of the key things that I wanted to do was like get a job, work. I was a sophomore in college and just trying to figure that out. But like the conversation I had with them was that, is work like what defines you, or is it like a part of what you do? And just like not wanting to essentially go to a place where it's like you work 5 days a week, you're miserable, and your only like hope for the week is that you're looking forward to Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday you're miserable again, and then you just like repeat the cycle. So I would say like for them, that's something that always stuck with me, where work is something that I do rather than who I am.
I would like to give a shout out to, I've got two potential. One is my, I call him on since we were kids. And would y'all believe he done did me dirty? And like, it was a really rough situation, but if I hadn't gone through that, I would not have like started going to church, gotten baptized and all that kind of stuff. So, and now my life is way, way better than it ever was. So shout out to you, bro. You'll probably never hear this, but if you do, appreciate you. The second one is a professor that I had while I was in undergrad, and he was my immunology professor. And it was through him that I became like acquainted with like doing research and stuff like that. And like he pointed me in the direction of like all of these programs. It's called prep programs, which you can do after you graduate. And because of that information, it led me to do the program in Galveston here in Houston, which is what actually led me to Texas. So I also wouldn't know you guys. So thank you.
All right, Prof. WW. For me, I would say like the person who changed my life and didn't know. Actually, I'm pretty sure he probably does know it. He's my middle school history teacher, Mr. Shellberg. And why did he change my life? Because he literally is the first. He pretty much gave me my first taste of racism for the first time. And again, middle school. So yeah, it was through him, and it also taught me that, hey, no matter how much you can do right, how much it's like how much good you do or you think you do, it ain't gonna cut it for some people. Some people just gonna hate you just to hate you. And
did you add him to the donut squad?
I was too young at the time. But you may never know. I still know he still works at the school to this day. I know where he is.
People outside?
I know where he is at all times. But in any case, yeah, it definitely made me more cynical. So it definitely changed my life for the worse. But hey, that's why I got more people to show me the positives rather than the negatives. But it did help me get that balance of life that clearly every adult needs. Not everything can be all sunshine and rainbows, but not everything's all doom and gloom. So I managed to reach the balance of the light and the dark. I am Revan. But yeah, so all right. So next question is, what are you still trying to prove to yourself?
Trying to prove to yourself. I would say that I am like, there's a couple things. Like one, that I am like smart. I am capable, and I don't have to prove anything to anyone, which kind of goes against it. But there's that. And then also that like success does not need to look the way that everyone else tells me to look for it to still be a success. there is, and then lastly, that there's nothing wrong with me. So I'm not going to elaborate on, well, I can. I have, I feel I'm not very nice to myself a lot of the time. And I always think that I blame myself for all the things that happen to go wrong. So me trying to tell myself that prove to myself that there's nothing wrong with me is important, because that's not usually how I feel.
That's fair. That's fair. I would say for me, I feel like I just had this conversation with someone, but for me, it's just like at times I feel like I'm holding my subconsciously holding myself back from greatness, even though it's like, okay, doing all these different things, whether that be work, writing, podcast, and different aspects like that, but still like, okay, I'm not where I want to be yet, and learning to appreciate, okay, where I am, which is much further than where I was. That's definitely something that's been hard for me. And just like figuring out, okay, what's the next step? It can kind of like be an anchor where it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to pursue something as much as I possibly could to the fullest length of that road, because it's like, oh, maybe I might fail, even though I failed along the way to getting where I am. So that's definitely something where it's just like, okay, I'm trying to prove that to myself, where it's just like, just keep going, and you'll get to, if not where you want to be, but somewhere further along than where you are.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, one thing I'm still trying to prove to myself is, and it's something that I'm still just going to work myself on to this day, is just the concept of just, hey, it's okay to open up to a close, tight-knit group. It's like not everybody is going to like hold your things against you. Because like I've had that trauma where like I've said something in confidence and then that person ended up using it against me later on. And then like that coupled with the childhood trauma I had, that partially led to me being a closed off person. And as I mentioned earlier, so like I constantly work to prove to myself like, hey, I can be more trusting of others. And like whether or not like they'll reciprocate it back, that's not my job. Like it's my job to, be discerning and to know like, all right, I know this person's probably not gonna be a trustworthy person, but it's not like my job to like, all right, if I reveal something to someone, it's not my job to like keep them, what I'm saying, like keep them like in the personal like sphere type of deal. So yeah, that's one thing I've constantly proven to myself every day, and also keep proving to myself I am the strongest in the universe. But yeah, so exactly. So let's see, what title would you give this chapter in your life?
Well, as soon as this book drops, the day after this comes out, I'm closing this chapter, and it is called Immense Patience. So I will be moving on and figuring out what's next after that. So yeah.
I think, well, it has something to do with waiting. I'd probably call this what's the name of that force that like it's a potential force that could happen, but you're waiting for the right like action to take place. I don't know.
Potential energy?
Yes. I feel like there's a lot of that. So I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but I'm trying to get my PhD, and that's been 7 years in the making, as well as like other goals that I have. And like, I have this desire to move forward and to do more, but right now I have to finish this thing before I can. So I'd call this chapter Potential Energy.
No. And for my chapter of my life, I think I would like to say it is the I call it resurrection of the Meech, because of the fact that like throughout like like these past couple years is been a real downward spiral, so much so to the point where like I felt like I lost myself in that wave, when everybody else did. So like really I'm at that point where like I could say without a shadow of doubt, like, oh yeah, he's back. Meech is back and he's ready to give everybody a heart attack. But am I still done being resurrected? Absolutely not. I'm still working on stuff to this day. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here, ready to cause havoc, and ready to not threaten people anymore. So Meech has been resurrected. And yeah, let's keep it moving. All right, so this one touches my soul, but I'm gonna answer this one last. If you were a villain, what would be your backstory that made you the way you are?
Wow, there was a situation in 4th grade that I'm not going to get into, but essentially, all the kids in the class put me on trial with the teacher. They were, as people say, keeping receipts, which is what I was talking about with that Monique interview. You got to check them skeletons in your closet. And let's just say there were a lot of traitors that were cut out of my life at such a young age. A lot of enemies and a lot of revenge that happened. So with that, that would have made me who I am today as a villain, vindictive. But I want to be an Aaron level villain. Yeah. Unlike some people on this podcast. So yeah.
I would say that if I were a villain, I would say that my backstory would be that for her entire life, people continued to take and take and take until she had nothing left to give other than these hands. Okay. So, because I feel like I get taken advantage of sometimes. So I'm ready to fight.
Yeah. Well, you guys already got a sneak preview of it when I mentioned Shellberg earlier. Is just
racism?
I mean, that's been creating backstory in all of anime.
Yeah.
That's basically Aaron backstory.
Touche.
Yeah, so let me carry on with my racist villain backstory, all right? So with mine, right, I'm just a man trying to live my life, live the dream, helping to please everyone and try to make the world a better place. But there are forces out there at work against me. And the man at the helm, at the front of it all, he decided to spout his ideology at me.
His Frieza ideology?
His worldview that I should be eliminated just because I exist. And as such, he has collected a whole brigade of folks to start taking me and my people out. And it got to the point where my family got taken out in the process. And it became so harrowing. I could not let this pain and injustice last any longer. Instead, it only galvanized me further and made me realize that these people are not worthy of my nature, of my good. So instead of me being the hero that I thought I was, I'll be the villain that they know I am. I will bring divine justice unto all of humanity, and I'll show them what true villainy and what a true monster can do.
Oh, this boy, Nat Turner, okay? Wow.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, that's a tough one. We might need to send you to a therapist.
Yeah.
No.
Might be a few unresolved issues, but only a little bit.
Divine justice.
That definitely took a dark turn.
Let us divinity.
Yeah,
it's a villain backstory. There's no such thing.
I know, but I thought this was a Valentine's Day episode. We ain't talked about nothing but trauma.
We'll get into it with this next set of questions. So, the first one. From Victoria, how can you show your partner appreciation and how special they are every day?
That's a great one. And I think it does to our simp question. Because there is a fine line. But I feel like when it's someone that you love and it's your partner, I feel like there's very little you can do that could be too much. So I think one, paying attention to what they say and the little things about them is one way you can show appreciation for every single day. Like being a good listener, like trying to bring them along with you in your like everyday things. And like I like making food for people. So sometimes I'll give them a little snacky snack, a little baked good. So doing that, like sometimes they're just taking paying attention to what they like and what their interests are and allowing, like doing that for them, like taking that and doing something encouraging for them.
Yeah, definitely. I do think, like, of course, show them appreciation and how special they are every day. Of course, you can like tell them, like, but it all depends on like education, like take care, like see like what their interests are, see like what do they truly love or what are they truly like passionate about, and go along with them on that journey. It's like for example, if somebody were to say, hey, I want to come hey, fight you with lightsabers, and I'll be like, man, love you. But now all I feel is just crippling hatred. But in any case, so another thing you can add on to that is just, hey, what's their love language? Like how do learn and know like how do they get loved and how do they feel like they are loved, and just go ham on like the first two. So if they're like a physical touch person, make sure you give them plenty of hugs, kisses, and whatever throughout like their day and time.
As long as they consent to it.
We're not worried about that. We're showing them appreciation and how special they are.
Consent?
It's Lucy's about.
Yeah, you really not beating those allegations. Yeah, lock him up. Lock him up.
Allegations. You do not want to repeat. All right, but in any case, or like for example, if they like quality time, like go out with them, like, hey, I want to take you here, or like take you to your favorite spot. Let's go do it, or like we go have a special spot there, or things like that. But yeah, that's. I'm gonna go ahead stop now before y'all try to get me canceled. Yes,
y'all, you are definitely doing that yourself. We have not prompted you to say anything.
Yeah, y'all have. You are chat right now.
Yeah, no.
There's a hidden chat, y'all, and they are telling me to go more.
When you edit this episode, Demetrius, I need you to send a pic of the snap or the chat, because there is nothing in there other than I'm about to get my food.
It's gonna be a nightmare to edit. So for the next question, because y'all basically covered anything I would say, what are your thoughts on guys treating girls, especially on Valentine's Day?
I mean, so I think with Valentine's Day, I think that it should go both ways. I think that because it's a love day, so I think that you might not do the exact same thing for a guy that you'd want to do for a girl, but like you can still show love and affection to both parties, and it shouldn't just fall on one person to make the day special.
Agreed. Also think like part of it can be like, it's like, hey, I know like there's been this giant wave going around. It's like, hey, should the man pay? But the real question hasn't been asked, like, hey, can women pay? It's like, should they pay as well? It's like, if like, should they, like, let's say they're the one to ask the guy out, should they be ones to pay for the date type of deal? And that can be a discussion to be had at a later time. But at least like personally for me, it's like, hey, if girls want to treat a guy out, I'm all for it. I mean, I'm not gonna have any problem with like treating a girl as long as I'm not getting taken advantage of, like not getting the $800 bill.
No, sir.
Type of deal. So as long as no injustice is happening, I'm cool.
Honestly, I wish that like Valentine's Day was like how they do it in animes, strictly in Japan, where it was like on Valentine's Day, and I'm strictly speaking for anime. It's like the girls give the guys the treats, and then the next month on White Day, that's when the guys reciprocate that. So it's kind of like going both ways, and it's kind of like an even playing field where it's not just like, oh, you're guessing. in a sense, and it's like, oh, which guy wants to embarrass themselves this year? So
I know a few.
yes. So with that, how can singles still have a great Valentine's Day? For me, I think well, not this year, but I mostly just to kind of ignore that it exists and then keep it moving.
Talk about rubbing it in, man.
Yeah, ain't gonna keep.
Fire, we're single. Gosh, can we still be friends?
No, we cannot. Apparently,
Wow.
Just giving the listeners context.
see, he just wanted to. No, he just wanted to
Yeah.
flex on us.
Yeah. I know he said that, like, he said what he said, but really what I heard is that I hate single people. Like, that's literally what I heard.
I can't believe I'm on a podcast with these two single folk.
Yeah.
They should be out of my yard.
Wow.
Get out of my presence. I don't want to touch any of their singleness.
Yeah.
Ruin my relationship.
Yeah. Dang. Well, I guess after that,
You ain't beating these alligators.
yeah. I mean, other than the daddy issues, like his allegations are way behind yours, Meech. But the single ones, yeah.
Allegations.
Yeah. Anyway, I would say that Valentine's Day can be whatever you want it to be, even if you're single. Like, yes, it's the like, oh, this is for couples and everything like that. But honestly, if you want to take yourself out on a date, do that. Like, get dressed up, hang out with friends. I would really like to get friends together and we get super dressed up and we plan this romantic dinner, but then we go to like Whataburger or McDonald's or something like that, and we bring a tablecloth, some tea lights, and we go through the whole shebang of a like romantic dinner with friends. Like the guys are pulling out the chairs, all this other stuff, but we're at McDonald's and we keep up the bit until we leave. Like that would be so much fun.
All right. I've written that down. Okay, so at least for me, right? Like for me, it's just like another day out of the year. I literally do not, unless somebody like says something to me, I'm just like, oh, it's Valentine's Day. Cool. All right. And like I just be right back to what I'm doing, or like I just be inside all day. It's like, all right, if I see any YouTube shows based on like couple stuff, it's like, all right, skip. Know what? No, forget this. Let me watch a horror movie and watch these couples get annihilated. Let's do this.
All right. So for the next question is basically for me and Meech, but should guys have their own versions of Galentine's Day, and how do we feel about being left out of it? This made me think of like when we went to DreamCon and the creator or writer of the Boondocks was there. It's like, do the homemade.
Yep, do the whole movie. I say yes. We should have a dang. What would we even call it?
We call it the Super Bowl watch party.
You know, the Dojo Casa Miga house or whatever they called it on Barbie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Your Knuff Day.
Talk about the Godfathers.
Mm-hmm. Easy. That's easy money. But yeah, it's like, hey, let's have a guy's version of Valentine's Day. It's like if the gals are doing something, like what are the guys gonna be doing?
Oh, have y'all seen it's a Saturday Night Live skit, and it's with the great Bruce Willis, and it's called Boy Dance Party.
Oh yeah, it's been a minute.
Y'all have to watch that. It's so funny. That's exactly how I feel like it would be.
I was gonna say like, hey, I'll watch it too. I'll say, hey, a guy's version of Galentine's Day is a Call of Duty lobby.
Yeah, basically.
That, from what I hear, that's really toxic, and I feel like you guys have to work on your toxic masculinity if you really want this to work.
Don't
It
worry.
could be something beautiful, and I don't want you to feel like men cannot have healthy, satisfying friendships where they share their feeling.
Nope.
And they feel like they have to do the homemade, because it's not that. It's not that.
It can be a boss.
That is a whole pause moment. I said nope.
To the next question.
To the next one.
From Henry. Do you have to take your date to an expensive restaurant?
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm taking this question right now. Absolutely not. Especially not on the first date. We are not going to a steakhouse where the steak price minimum is $80.
For a steak this big.
It's like, is it big enough to spend spend half your paycheck?
Nope.
Just on see, that's what I thought. So no. It's like, you can go to Cheesecake Factory. You can have fun. As long as you do something that's fun, memorable, and you get to know the person, then yeah, you don't have to spend like all your money.
Oh yeah, I went to Cheesecake Factory after that fiasco with old girl. Cheesecake Factory is expensive. What are they talking about?
It's a chain restaurant. What you mean?
Yeah, it's because they serve like everything. Like they don't just serve like cheesecakes. They serve tacos. They serve Italian food. They serve Mexican, or I said Mexican food. They serve Chinese food. It's a lot, but it's good.
It's delicious.
But my mom used to say that all you have to do is stay black and die. And well, you don't have to pay taxes, but it helps. So I know that there's all these like gender wars and stuff online, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. And for the like people say you need to do this, you need to do that. In all actuality, that's just like their opinion, and just because they feel like it's right doesn't make it a fact. So you do what is in your means and what you know your date would like to do. And if down the line you want to take her or him to an expensive restaurant, that's your prerogative. You do that. And if you would prefer to make food at home, again, that's your prerogative, but you don't have to do anything.
Nice. Yes. So each want to go to the next question?
Oh yeah, so this one's coming from our favorite Sword of the Jedi herself. She decided to come at us with which romantic score is the greatest of all time?
I initially was going to say Titanic, but confession time, I haven't seen Titanic from start to finish.
Fair.
Thank you.
Fair.
So I'm going to cheat. Would y'all call The Lion King a romance movie?
No.
I'm gonna go with Beauty and the Beast then.
Okay.
Had to go to somewhere Disney.
Yeah. My first thought was Inuyasha. Cause like you think about the Kagome songs, the Kikyo songs, the Sango and Moroku songs, all that kind of stuff. But now that I think about it, I think, and this is one of my favorite romance movies, is Memoirs of a Geisha.
Give us a 20-second breakdown preview.
A girl gets sold into X work and to become a geisha, but then through the process of her maturing and going through World War II, she finally falls in love with the man that she had been pining after for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think for me, I'm gonna have to cheat a little as well. So there's a few of them where so my first thinking was like, of course, Across the Stars from Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Like, come on now, that is prime wedding theme. That is prime wedding theme. What you mean? But if you wanted to go down that route, all right, how about The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston?
Okay.
Haven't seen that movie.
Give me your card. But yeah, so like that movie, I Will Always Love You. Come on now. Come on.
I low-key want to say Les Mis as well. So yeah.
Or A Star Is Born.
Like with Les Mis, I see more unrequited love. That some of those love songs were super painful. Yeah.
We'll get to that in another question soon.
Ooh, all right. So for our next one, it says, which famous bromance most encapsulates the relationship of the Meeches?
That's a tough one.
It is. Dang.
You see, some of my favorite ones are like Gus and what's his name? Sean from Psych. Like I like that where it's goofy. And then another one that I really love is Hap and Leonard. This book and that's a TV show that's based off of the book, where it's like they really like ride for each other. I don't know. I feel like it has to be something like goofy.
Yeah. So initially, when I first saw this question, I was like, oh, I was thinking Deadpool and Spider-Man,
All right.
like an anti-hero, and the other one's like a hero. And like Deadpool's chaotic and Spider-Man's not as chaotic. But when I thought about it, I would say Senku and Taiju from Dr. Stone. So Senku seems like he's a villain and everything. He makes all these jokes that he's like going to do anything to get what he wants. But in actuality, he is like the nicest guy ever. And Taiju is like a golden retriever boy. And he's super nice. He's super helpful. Like, and the way that they're able to work together seamlessly, like they have such different energies, but they love each other. They're loyal. They are willing to go the extra mile for themselves and for others. And they make a great team. So that's what I think the Meeches are.
Oh, thanks. All right, so for me, firstly, Meech, I just want to say, like, when you had said guts, I thought you said guts, and I was like, where you taking this, bruh? Where you taking this?
Yo,
I was like, I am not. Don't you dare say I am him.
Yes.
Dare say I am Bimto. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, like this was like a really tough one. Probably one of the toughest ones I could have ever asked for. And like for me, one of the biggest ones I could think of is like just comic wise is like Damian Wayne Robin and then like John Kent Superboy.
Ooh.
Or like actually no, scratch that. Let's go with their daddies. Batman and Superman. One's hopeful, one's dark. One's willing to beat the other to a bloody pulp. The other's not. As for who is who, we let you decide. And then like one is paranoid like most of the time, and the other one's genuinely just charismatic. One's a pure menace, the other one not so much. One's a Boy Scout, one's able to break bones. And also one is openly kind, the other one's kind in closed doors. So boom, let's get with that. All right, next question. All right, we have ourselves, if you could only listen to love songs in another language, which one language would you choose? It must be non-English, and we're talking about real music that already exists.
Spanish.
Japanese.
French.
All right, next question.
Easy. So there's a saying somewhere that goes something like, comedies entertain us, but it's the dramas and tragedies that stick with us. Why do you think we're drawn to the dramas and tragedies in film, plays, books, etc.? What is it about watching pain that keeps us coming back?
I think it connects. It helps us connect with others. That empathy for those that do have it. I mean, this morning I was listening to Memories by Barbara Streisand and like from Cats, and I was almost in tears. And like I don't relate to that song at all, but for some reason it just like affected me. And then like even with the Grammys, I know Tracy Chapman came back and did Fast Car, and then everyone at the Grammys, like all those people that are like famous and rich and all that, they like really connected with that song. So I think it just like it's a way for us to connect. Like even with laughing, like it'll stick with you for a bit, but like the pain and all the different things that we go through are what shape us more and what we can kind of understand. That's what I felt.
I think pain is one of the few like universal human experiences, because like there's things where people are like, oh, everyone experiences love, all this other stuff. And like in actuality, I don't think so. I think pain and suffering are something that are things that are integral to the human condition, regardless of how much we try to avoid it. And so but it's also something that people constantly try to like tell us that, oh, it's not that bad, or like they try to move us away from. So I feel like when we get to experience stories that show people like going through tragedies and things like that in all different stages of their life, it's an opportunity for us to connect in a way that we don't always get to do if if we were just talking about like the happy times and things like that. So the pain is the connector, kind of what Demetrius was saying, for all of us. And it's something that we can all look forward to, whether we want to or not. So yeah.
So what you're saying is that Payne's philosophy is right. But keeping on with that, I think like going along with that, I think like another thing that also is like why we connecting with dramas and tragedies, partially because of the fact that we may not see something exactly like that happen, but we can learn from that thing that happens. Be like, okay, if this scenario happens, I need to be prepared for it in case it gets to that point, and I know exactly what not to do. Or as I like to say, couldn't be me. Couldn't be me with making those decisions. Or it can be also just the fact like it's just so enticing or encapsulating because like I know like for at least the regular average American, like you may not see pain like on a daily basis unless like you work in a hospital or you're dealing or like you're a grief counselor or anything like that. But like you're a layperson and you just see like, hey, a car crashed on the side of the road. What's everybody gonna do? They're gonna turn their head and look because we're as just human beings, we're just wired that way. We're wired to like see the danger, see the tragedy, and then we come out on the other side.
All right. So for this next question, favorite Naruto couple. Mine is Naruto and Hinata. It's not even close.
I was gonna say Jiraiya and Tsunade.
I was gonna say Naruhina as well. So yeah.
All right. So who do you think? Again, this is coming from our boy Moran Jojo with his questions for the mailbag. Who do you think should be Peter Parker's girl, Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane, or somebody else? Me and Meech both agree that it should be Miss Felicia.
The Felicia's calling. Because MJ. Well, the only MJ that can be with Peter is Renew Your Vows, Ultimate Universe, aka universes where they're already married, or actually, yeah, no, that's about it. Every other Mary Jane can just go somewhere else.
Yeah, I feel like him and Black Cat have such a special relationship where obviously like him and MJ is the iconic one, but with him and Black Cat, just like their interactions with each other, and they can actually understand each other from a hero perspective or like vigilante or costume, to where it's like they can connect on that level where you don't see the push and pull with say Mary Jane because of, like she's just like a normal citizen most of the time until the new comics. Of course, for the second week in a row, we have another Taylor Swift conversation. How annoying is the Taylor Swift being shown with Travis Kelce a lot? And then I'll just combine this with one of my friend's stuff that's in the question. We will predict their downfall. How long do you think Swift and Kelce will last?
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok that said that if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, she's out. But long story short, I am very annoyed by it. Not because like I particularly care about their relationship, but how much they are, because of her hyper visibility, she's taking things that and she's doing things that Black people typically do. It's now becoming, oh, look at this really cool thing that Taylor Swift did. I like the swag surf. Like, I'm just like, dang it. We had that for like 15 years and now we gotta let it go.
I saw a meme that said it was whitewater rafting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like there was recently an article where someone was like, Travis Kelce has coined the like his haircut is the fade, or he invented the fade. And I was like, yo, that's wild. And so that's what I don't like about their relationship. Honestly, if they are in love and everything like that, good for them. But I don't like that, the appropriation that comes with Taylor Swift.
Well, I'm not going to put the karma out on ending someone's relationship, but
I wonder why.
But with that, I'll just say that it's less. I'm not annoyed with them. I'm just annoyed by how people lose their minds about it. Where it's just like y'all act like I said last week. Y'all act like you've never seen people in a relationship before. Relax.
Y'all act like y'all never seen Taylor Swift at anything before. Act like you've never seen a celebrity at a football game before.
Just calm down. Relax. Live your life. Go outside. Touch grass. Read a book. Do something else.
You know that's impossible for some people because, in fact, some of them may. Nah, I'm not gonna say it. We about to get canceled. But in any case, essentially, like, yeah, like the only part that's annoying to me is the fact that, why? It's like, okay, every few seconds you're panning to Taylor Swift when you should be like panning to like the play that's on the field that's probably relevant at the moment. I can understand if they're like going on break or if there's like nothing happening on the field. But to do it like after every single play, kind of outrageous. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like a lot, and the Super Bowl is about to go crazy.
I have a prediction for the Super Bowl. It sucks because people are going to hear this after the Super Bowl has already occurred. But here's what's going to happen. Imagine it. Usher. They're getting ready for him to do his...
No, they do not. I know exactly what you're about to say.
And he gets locked. He gets locked in his dressing room. Can't get out. It's 5 minutes to perform. And they look to the press box or whatever. And they give her a microphone spotlight. And Taylor Swift does a whole performance for the next hour, even though halftime is usually 30 minutes for the Super Bowl. And she walks down for the stage and it's already prepared. They have dancers, stage sets, plays. Yes, we are in the new timeline.
Oh, nah, see, I was just thinking like, oh yeah, they're just going to bring Taylor Swift down to do like at least like one song with Usher because they do have a song together. They do have one. So that's what I thought was about to happen. But yeah.
All right, so moving on to the next question from Selena. What is the best Marvel couple to ever exist? I will go with Peter Parker and MJ. Granted what we said previously, but I do think their relationship is the Superman and Lois Lane of Marvel for the longest time.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
I honestly don't pay attention enough to like Marvel things, but one thing that I was interested in seeing is Black Panther and Storm. Like, I feel like that's such a cool couple that I would love to see them on screen.
Yeah, we won't see that until after Secret Wars.
Yeah, no, that ain't happened for a long time, my boy.
Right, so any Marvel couple you want to see on screen, Meech? Because that was mine.
A Marvel couple I would like to see online is Peter Parker and the Venom symbiote, but nah, that ain't happening anytime soon. So seeing as that's not happening, I guess like another would actually be I just want to see Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman done right.
Right, we got Pedro Pascal to do it for us.
Exactly. Yeah. I need them to do that relationship justice because they did them dirty for 2 movies.
All right, so for next one, Sarah, we kind of already talked about it, but men requiring a big display of love from women on Valentine's Day, mutual, that's kind of what we did. Favorite Valentine's Day movie to watch?
Oh, Rye Lane. If you guys don't know this, it is a Black rom-com. It follows these super cute, like quirky Black couple. The guy just got dumped by his longtime girlfriend that was cheating on him with his best friend, and the girl got dumped as well by her, I want to say, narcissistic artist ex-boyfriend, and they go on an adventure together, and it is absolutely adorable.
Dang. Interesting. For me, I would say my favorite rom-com is Crazy Stupid Love, so that's definitely one that's my favorite to watch. Meech?
Oh yeah, for me, I'm just gonna go with a very simple one. It's called My Bloody Valentine.
I don't know.
Pretty great horror movie, you know what I'm saying? Takes place on Valentine's Day. But if you want to do something that is a little less, watch Bride of Chucky. That's pretty good Valentine's Day movie right there. That's all.
I'm gonna have to call the police. Yeah, I'm a mandatory reporter, and
nah.
I don't know what you want me to do.
Nah, see, it's already too late. See, at least I didn't say like some outrageous like Misery or Audition, but nah. See, apparently me saying Bride of Chucky is too much. All right.
I'm with you with that. So next question. Most memorable moment celebrating Valentine's Day in elementary school? I don't have one.
Getting those unsigned Valentine, because that's how you knew that someone had a crush on you. You didn't know who it was from, but when you got a Valentine like that, you're just like, oh yes, I'm that girl. And hopefully it was from your actual crush and not someone that you thought had cooties.
I got kissed on the cheek by a girl in elementary school, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend for like that entire year until I had like a asthma attack and ended up in the hospital for like a couple weeks, and then came back. No,
like, how could I be with a man that can't breathe?
Oh no, she was sending me stuff like all the time while I was in the hospital. I got like a bunch of cards from her. I don't have them to this day because they lost the time, but yeah, got kissed on the cheek, got sent to the hospital.
Wow. I'm surprised both of those two stories took dark turns from such promising starts.
Yeah.
Who do you think you're talking to?
So, Mitch, you want to read the next question?
Oh, yes. Coming from my boy Brandon. All right. So it says, when you're trying to get to know someone or could already be in a relationship with that has different fandoms / interests, what's a good way to bridge that gap? Like, my wife loves sitcoms, but I'm more into true crime, or Star Wars versus Star Trek, rom-coms versus comic book movies, etc.
Well, I would say like there's overlap with them, because a lot of times, like, okay, we say anime, but anime is broken down into different categories like romance, action, shonen, mecha, drama, horror, mystery, different things, and it's just a different medium to tell those stories. So with that, you can always find a medium to tell the story that you're looking for, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
I agree.
All right, cool. So next one is, if you and your significant other both aren't interested in Valentine's Day, is it culturally acceptable to skip it / treat it like any other day?
Yes. See, here's my thing with Valentine's Day. And one of my friends, every time it comes up, always quotes it back to me. If you can't tell me you love me the other 364 days of the year, 365 this year, do not tell me on Valentine's Day that you love me. It doesn't really mean anything to me. So that's my personal opinion on it.
Ooh. Chill. Same. The only thing I'll get like from Valentine's Day is the fact that like the next day all candy is like half off.
Priorities.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, next one.
All right. So this one is coming from an old pal of ours, Veronica. Hey, what's going on? So here's your first question. It says, will we ever know / can you speculate on what happens to Steven from Steven Universe and Connie?
I'm gonna watch Steven Universe.
You are truly missing out on a masterpiece.
I know.
It's so cute. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I did not watch Steven Universe Future. The movie rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. I think I didn't like that everything had changed. So that probably says something about me. But I think if I'm remembering correctly, they broke up. And honestly, and so today I actually saw a fan art where someone had put Steven and Connie and they'd actually gotten married and had a kid. And it was super cute. But honestly, I feel like they should, even though they had a very significant relationship, I do feel like it would most likely be better for both of them if they moved past it. I think that developmentally, they might stay, like them staying together might be more of a, like, this is familiar, this feels safe, more than like, this is where the trajectory that each of us need to go. And I think considering all of the trauma that Steven had gone through with dealing with his mom and the saving the world and everything like that, he really needs time to, like, find himself. And I feel like if he stayed with Connie, she would always be a reminder of the trauma and his past. And so I don't think it would work out.
I mean, I'll abstain because I've never seen Steven Universe. All right. So next up we have maybe another important question to ask too that's less serious is, what's a good way to make sure that that people who are struggling this season are encouraged?
I mean, just check up on them. I think like what Paulina said, where like whether it be a Galentine's Day, a do the homemade day, or just like hanging out with friends, like just to be, especially if they're struggling. Like we mentioned it, where it's like most of the time it's like whatever, like bring on the 15th. But just with that, just check up on your people.
Yeah, bring us candy, like, or flowers. Like, get your one single friend flowers or something like that. I think that's super awesome. And yeah, and remind them that their relationship status does not determine their worth.
Yeah, agreed. And then also, again, if you want to come fight me, go ahead, do that, just please, because I'm desperately in need of somebody to fight. But yeah, let's keep it moving.
Right. So for these next two questions, it's about to get messy. So for the first one, is it ever okay to date your friend's ex or sibling?
This is very hard. So historically, the answer is always no. However, what I think is really the answer is that if you do this, you have to have so much communication and double check all of your I's and cross your T's or whatever before you move forward, and you be completely transparent with your friend, or like with your friend, whether it's their ex or their sibling, what your intentions are, and that, because honestly, like the thought of one of my like girlfriends falling in love with my brother makes me sick. I love my brother, but it feels icky. But it is not fair for me to be like, no, you can't date my brother, or no, you can't date my ex, just because like it would make me slightly uncomfortable. Like for the ex thing, I feel like if that makes you uncomfortable, like it's not always like, I should say it's not always like 1-to-1, but I feel like there's some acknowledged feelings and undealt with feelings that might need to be worked out, and so that you can figure out why that makes you uncomfortable. And for the sibling, I'm just like, I mean, don't give me any details. And I mean, if you're trying to vent to me, I'm probably not going to be the best person. So take that for what it is.
Meech, you were making a face when I asked this.
See, it's because of the fact that with this one, right, we need to go none other than to rule number 2 of the bro code, which is known as never date your bro's ex. And then we scroll down to rule number 7 of the bro code, which is don't date your bro's sister. All right. So when it comes to that, right, according to the bro code, it's pretty explicitly clear that neither such thing shall ever happen, especially when it's your bro, lest you incur the wrath of the bro council. However, there is an exception, which is that said bro has given you explicit and very emphatic approval of said relationship. If not, then things can get messy ASAP. Because imagine you with bro and you dating his sis. What happens when y'all two break up? Oh, yes. So now bro is put in a pretty awkward spot between bro or his actual flesh and blood. But in all seriousness though, like it may seem like it's kind of a bit of a taboo subject, but in reality, it's like, that's one of those things, like just be adults and have an open conversation about it. Because for the love of everything, things can be a lot simpler if you just talk about it rather than just have like repressed feelings or just keep it like under wraps. Because I can tell you from personal experience that it's a poison, and that poison is only gonna corrupt you from the inside out.
So that like my biggest point, you are an adult, you should be able to communicate. And for both of them, I feel like context matters immensely. So like with the ex thing, if like the ex cheated on you or like abused you in any way, and your friend goes with the ex, that is a red flag that you need to end that friendship. Another one I think it matters is like, were we friends before or after you broke up with the person? Is another big one, because it's like you won't know the context of it, and then like, okay, you meet, I didn't know that y'all two were together. I'm not gonna just break up just because you say break up, unless you like give me information that like would lead to that. For the sibling one, some of y'all know y'all got some grimy friends, and you wouldn't want them to do their griminess to your siblings. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. And then also the age gap matters, because the age gap definitely matters in that one.
Yeah, I'll say yeah, because there's no allegations like that you can dodge with that one. You don't you dare say age is but a number, because I'll send you to meet Kami himself.
All right,
Cops.
For this next one, from a friend that I will not say their name. How does one escape the friend zone?
So I want to let the guys go first, and I'll go last.
The heck you? All right. All right. Well, all right. Heartbroken. You go first, since you actually escaped it.
Well, I technically wasn't in it with.
That was
but it is what it is. We'll keep moving. But I will say this. It kind of went back to what you said last year. You have to be, particularly with the friend zone, you have to be very direct with the person, because it can be misinterpreted, especially depending on the length of the friendship. But if you're direct and you get rejected, strap up the seatbelt, because you're going to be there for a while. The only way, and I have to give context, don't be a grimy person when I say this. The only way to test the waters to see if there's more than a friendship is to move on. So like, move on, because if they feel some type of way about you moving on, or lessening in certain ways like that, there might be something there that they didn't know until like, oh, now I'm going to lose you in that sense. But then also just like something that I want to say is that if you are in that situation, appreciate the friendship. I would say that, because think about like how many relationships you've been in, how much do you keep in contact with your ex? And then like with friendships, I have friendships that lasted 10 years with like women of them, where it's like, it's a great friendship, and like means a lot to me. So just consider that if you are in that situation and you have expressed that. So that's my advice.
Right. Yeah, that's actually really great advice. I know, like for me, definitely again, like, hey, as he mentioned, like tread the waters, like be direct, be a grown adult and talk about it. But be ready for the consequences. But here's another way to determine if you can truly let the person know like, hey, if they really like you or not. Get into a car crash. NANI? Just get into an accident, or find yourself in the hospital with just find yourself at death's door, or even fake your own death and have a fake funeral. That if that person shows up and is bawling their eyes out at the thought of losing you, you got something special. And then pop back up from death's door. Just be like, hey, that's a miracle. Hey, it's time for us to, hey, it's time for you to be true to your word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you need help with that, then just let me know. Then I'll make sure that that you'll get the confirmation you needed.
Yeah. So just so everyone listening knows, we have called the authorities, and they're en route to pick up Meech. Because he directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. To jail.
You're gonna have to find me first.
Yeah. Never mind. I was gonna make a black joke, but I'm not. Because we're in the middle of Black History Month. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's my turn. So I've thought about this a lot, and I have been both the girl who's in the friend zone, and then the girl who's put guys in the friend zone. And from my perspective, I think I've thought about this like a lot. And it also goes into like kind of what Demetrius was saying about like how much do you value the relationship and the friendship. And now I don't see the friend zone as something that you have to get out of. And I say that because ideally you would like your partner to be someone that you can be friends with, not just like someone that you have a romantic interest in, because ultimately there will come a time where the romantic interest might wane or it might fade completely. And sometimes the only thing, especially I feel like if you're in a long-term relationship, like sometimes the thing that gets you through those difficult times where there might be a lot of fights and things is the friendship that you have. So it's important to keep that in mind. So then on top of that, I feel like, sorry, I had thought this out, but I feel like we put a lot of thought into like, oh, I need to get out of the friend zone. I need to get out of the friend zone. When in all actuality, I think that we can feel like that when we feel discontent with wherever the relationship is. And sometimes we need to recognize that wherever we're at in our relationship means that's where God wants us to be. And sometimes God will keep you in the friend zone because he's like, one, you're not ready for this. Two, the other person isn't ready for this. Or three, like this person isn't good for you anyway. So you need to chill. And he's trying to save us from ourselves. Cause I know that like if I ended up with all the guys that like I was interested in, I would be in trouble. I would not be in a good place, for a variety of reasons. But, with that, and sometimes the point of a relationship and a friendship isn't for you to like, just kind of be in this romantic relationship and sometimes that friendship and whatever feelings you have for that person is meant to show you what you would like in a partner. And that's what you learn from. And you take it and you keep it pushing. And like, I think that if you see the friend zone as something that like you always have to get out of, or like it's the death of the relationship or something like that, I think that it's good for you to re-examine what your beliefs are on your relationships with the opposite sex. Because if you see it as something like I put friendship in and I get relationship out, then there's a problem. And I think that like a mark of a real genuine friendship and showing that like you really care about someone is if you do not get what you want in terms of how you want the relationship to look, and if you can still like show up for them and love them and treat them like they are special to you, because if they stop being special to you because you can't date them, like I don't think they are really ever special to you. Like it's very transactional. So the friend zone is not bad. Like it's fun, like having friends and getting to know people is so much fun. And sometimes you have to go through the friend zone to really figure out if you actually have feelings for someone. And like both of the Meeches have said, like the best way to like navigate that is be super duper clear about your intentions, have conversations. And if you need to have additional conversations, do that. But yeah.
No, that was well said, Afropuff. Meech, that is how you give advice to people in
didn't you see she agreed with my point.
No, I said I was calling the police.
She said she agreed with my point.
No,
it's right here in the chat. But yep. So thank you for the support. Yes, definitely, we're good.
But yeah, thanks again to all the listeners just for the mailbag. So with that, we're gonna just try to quickly wrap up the episode, but quickly when I do a Black History, I put it as Entertainer of the Month, really an appreciation moment. So last week we recorded February 1st, on the 2nd, Carl Weathers passed away, so we like didn't have time to catch that before that episode came. So this is just a moment to give him his respect. Definitely somebody that meant a lot to a lot of different people in a lot of different avenues outside of just purely action movies. So, Meech, if you want to kick it off.
Yeah, man. Firstly, Carl Weathers, man. First, he a January kid, and like myself, like definitely we already bonded on that, but he definitely hugely important because again, he's not only just known for, you know, Rocky with Apollo, or even in Star Wars, or even in Predator, you know, as Dylan, but also we cannot forget that he was a member of the Oakland Raiders. He did have a football career, and you say like he was pretty decent at it. So yeah, it's like definitely just huge, phenomenal person. And the fact of the matter is like he's just a great guy overall. And I actually got a chance to see him in person when he came to Comic Palooza like 2 years ago. And outstanding guy. He definitely is like truly down to earth, really humble guy, and he deep in Star Wars legends. I'm just saying that right now because he really loves the Star Wars lore, and I appreciate him wholeheartedly for it. But yeah, it's just sad to see him go. It was such a sting, where like that's how the first day of Black History Month came out, with just my boy going. Dang, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like not only just like the action movies like you mentioned with Apollo Creed, like speaking of just of Apollo Creed, the fact that like him dying in a Rocky 4, which is a spoiler, which is an 840-year spoiler, but like that was like a moment, you know, and obviously us being born in the 90s and whatnot, like we couldn't like understand like what that actually meant, but like even watching it later on, it's like, oh no, not Apollo. But also he had like comedic chops with Happy Gilmore when he played Chubbs. So that was just like, man. And then even like you mentioned with Star Wars, the fact that he gave that character like so much like gravitas was actually crazy. And like I didn't even know he was that old. Like he just didn't feel that way. As they say, the black does not crack. So
never would, never will.
It sucks. Yeah, it definitely sucks, but we just kind of wanted to give that moment since like we essentially couldn't catch it last week. So with that, we're going to give plugs. I hope everyone has like a nice Valentine's Day, but we're going to do plugs and then get up out of here.
Yes.
You go first, Meech.
All right. So of course, like for our plugs, you know what I'm saying, we have ourselves our Instagram, our ex formerly known as Twitter, and our Threads account under Blurred City 22. Like, comment, subscribe, you know, do all that good jazz, bell for notifications, stay up to date on our new release episodes and schedules. We have ourselves our Discord with links in the Instagram. That's where you can join the fine community of degenerates, where we send memes, and that's where the group chat that sent me on my wow, cannot speak today, but that's where the Meech of Earth 42 went. And nope, that was where the Meech of Earth 42 decided to come in from. We can't stop him. He's just here, and I can't kill him either because he's me. But in any case, we also have ourselves our YouTube and our Patreon, the Blurred City Pod. That's where if you donate a little cheddar to our account, you know what I'm saying, like help us out a little, you get access to very exclusive episodes that may or may not see the light of day, you know what I'm saying? And then we have ourselves our email, blurredcity22@gmail.com. That's where you can submit mailbag questions like we did today. That's where you can submit like episode suggestions, ideas for content you want to see in upcoming episodes, or even just how you want us to act. And if you want to like, agree with any statements that Meech of Earth 42 has stated, then go ahead and give us suggestions there as well, and just go ahead.
Do that.
And if you want to like tell Afro Puff Samurai off, then you go ahead and do it in there as well. And then if you want to like have the heartbroken Shinigami get even more heartbroken, go ahead and say something in the email as well. Just go ahead, just do it for all of us, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's all I got for that.
Yeah.
And as far as personal, I am the Jedi Ronin on TikTok, however long I got TikTok left, as well as on Instagram, where I post like pretty saber content and all my lightsaber shenanigans. So that's all I got.
Gotcha. So I completely misunderstood what plug meant. I thought you wanted me to say what I'm watching right now and what I was like, bro, I'm not prepared. But I am Polina _what everywhere. So at Polina _what if you want to follow me. I don't be posting. But yeah, so add me on LinkedIn. You have to email the niches for my information because I'm not going to give my full government name on the internet. But yeah, if you can give me a job, that would be real.
Yes. For me, my personal author pages, you can catch my Instagram at Mitri _dash. That is METRI_DASH. For my ex, at the Mad-16. And then if you're interested in my book, Phantom Reckoning, A Most Irregular Tale, that is dropping tomorrow as the day that you are hearing this. So you can get that on Amazon and then also Barnes & Noble. So looking forward for the sequel to drop. I think we gave plenty of words of encouragement. So all I'm going to say is we're wrapping up season 2. It was a long one, a lot of ups and downs, but definitely a great one. We were coming back season 3 with our Dune review in March. So as I like to say, it's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now. And that's the Blur City Podcast.
See ya later.
Bye.